Marketing Cloud Email Specialist Bootcamp. I'm your host, Pusha, and we have Vicky with us today. She will be taking us through Journey Builder. So you'll be able to see the demo, you'll be able to understand the product as well and how it works. Just for everyone's sanity, we will be recording this session, and you will have the opportunity to ask your questions, and also for the most attentive participants and people who will be attending most of the sessions, you will get a chance to potentially win swags or certification voucher. So try to attend all the sessions. And over to you, Vicky.
Yeah, that's definitely worth it. Who doesn't love some swag here? So, hi everybody. We're in the Salesforce space. Come on, I've got Brandy here. If we want some cheering on,
Ooh.
the marketer. So, hi everybody. Thanks for the intro, Piyusha. And we are here for day 5. So I feel like I lucked out. I got the best day out of all of them. I got Journey Builder. But yeah, we have a wonderful slide present with our awesome host for today. Pusha, did you want to say anything else here before I kept going?
I guess I've introduced myself enough,
Yeah.
so we can skip this.
We've done it over and over. We're on day 5 now. So, yeah, our housekeeping, everything here is recorded. I think everybody here knows that, but just in case, feel free to add any questions that you have into the chat window. We'll try to get through as many as we can. I keep my eye on that as I'm going through the sessions. And yeah, connect on with LinkedIn with the bootcamp, with the community group here. And feel free to connect with me as well on LinkedIn. That's where I'm the most active as well. So keep coming for those swag and vouchers. And this is me. So my name's Vicky Moritz Henri or Henry, depending on what country you're speaking to me in. And I'm originally from the US, based in France now. Have been for 14 years, so quite a while. And I'm an architect and certified instructor. I teach the marketing cloud classes with Trailhead Academy. They're one of my favorite products to teach. I'm not supposed to say that, but yeah, we're allowed to have favorites. And I'm a Salesforce MVP and marketing champion. Basically means that I like to talk about Marketing Cloud entirely too much. And my family's very happy when I have an outlet for all of it, like here, rather than peppering them about it. I'm 24 times certified and a 3 times mom. So if you see faces wandering around, I think they're out wandering elsewhere, but it's the school holiday right now. So you never know. And all of our awesome speakers, that some of them you've seen, some of them you will be seeing. And we're on day 5. So like I said, I kind of lucked out here. I feel like Journey Builder is the cheat day where it's just so much fun to play with. But you've got a lot of great stuff coming up too. So you've talked about creation up to this point, sending out the emails. And now we're going to be taking that content, that sending to the next level and creating these really tailored conversations. And then you've got a lot of good stuff coming up. So make sure to come back for Automation Studio, especially talking about your subscriber and data and all of that good Einstein stuff too. So today we have a lot on the agenda. I tried to pack in as much as I could in an hour. So we'll try to go through quickly. But like I said, throw your questions in the chat. There's just so much to talk about. It is a huge product. And we'll start with what is Journey Builder. So I feel like that's always a good place to start. And it is your powerhouse tool. So it's going to be creating all of these really engaging conversations and a one to one conversation at scale. So everybody who comes into a journey is treated as an individual person, and we're able to send them down different paths. I always love to have the example of 3 friends who walk into a store, make a purchase, and based off of what they purchase, based off of what we know about them, what they've signed up for so far, we can give them completely different experiences and even across the channel of their choice. So it's all multi-channel. If we know that one of those friends loves email, we can send her an email and maybe another one's going to get an SMS message and somebody else just doesn't check anything. So we'll go ahead and throw them into an ad campaign and try to get in front of them on social media. So there's so much we can do here. And it is that conversation that we're creating because we talk about email marketing as being a conversation that we're trying to have with our subscribers. And this is where we can keep the conversation going. We can start to listen to some things. And we have this little tagline down here of get the right message to the right customer on the right channel. And I forgot to put at the right time here. So it's really about creating these experiences for our customers. And it is so much more than just marketing. So we're going to see that it can go beyond pure marketing. It can be, yes, welcome journeys, abandoned cart journeys, but it can be things that are around customer service or follow up calls, really any point throughout the customer life cycle. And I know that the email specialist exam doesn't necessarily go into this a whole lot, but I wanted to start off with journey strategy because if you're going to be creating journeys in real life and going down that path, it's always good to know how to strategize. And there's some really great trailhead modules out there if you want to learn more. But we have this idea of backwards design. So, backwards design is something that I first got exposure to when I was starting to teach, because I was a teacher in a past life before even hearing about this thing called Salesforce. And when we're doing content creation, we always start with the end goal. What do we want somebody to be able to do by the end of their training? And we work backwards from there. Well, how do we get them there? And that's what we do with Journey Builder. So we work with our end goal. We do our backwards design. What's my goal? What am I trying to achieve with this journey? And then we work back from there. So, audience, who am I going to be targeting? The content that I'm going to be using, the cadence, the paths, the types of messages, and also my data. So you'll be talking about subscriber data later on in this boot camp, but data is going to be really important to Journey Builder because we need to make sure we have all of the pieces of the puzzle that we're going to need. So I'm just checking the chat. We're good so far. And we're going to now start to get into the actual tool itself. So, what are the Journey Builder basics? And there's three different types of journeys. So, it's grown quite a bit as a product over the past couple of years. Before, we only had this one in the middle, the multi-step ones. That's what started as soon as Journey Builder started. We had this multi-step, and that's what you saw in the screenshot before, and usually our idea of a journey. But actually, we have two new ones that were added within the past couple of years, which is the single send journey and this transactional journey. So if you come on into Journey Builder, and I am going to be jumping back and forth to demos quite a bit, when we come in and create a new journey, we have options. We can see a multi step journey, a single send journey, and even this transactional journey. So the single send journey, you'll notice down here that we have different channels. Depending on what SKUs you've purchased, what products we have available, we can potentially send email, SMS, or push notifications through our custom application that we might have worked with our app developer to bring into Marketing Cloud. So these single send are perfect for one-off batch sends. And we have a tendency of thinking about Journey Builder being a conversation, so something ongoing. But actually, it is going to be just like sending a email send flow through Email Studio. It's going to be one source that we're sending to, always a data extension. So I should have like a forward looking statement here, but as of right now, as of the time of this recording, the only available starting source for single sends is going to be a data extension. And then we can add a filter based off of our contact data. So if we come in here and take a look at this one, you'll notice that, first of all, it gives us all of this lovely information about how we can use this. You'll notice one time is written all over this. And we have our data extension as the starting source, and we can add an additional filter on top of that if we'd like to. But otherwise, it's just one message. We're going to be able to pick the email. We can build from here if we'd like to, but it is just this one message that's going out. And either we schedule it in and it will see who is qualified, who is in part of this entry source at the time of send, and it'll take the most recent version of the content here and it'll send it. Or we can do a send immediately. So we have some options there, in which case, once we validate, once we click send, then it'll just go out. But this is a nice simple one. And really, one of the benefits for using a single send is going to be the content. So if you're sending from Email Studio, the content actually has to, if you make an update to it after you schedule in the send, you have to cancel it and then resend it. Whereas Journey Builder, it's a little bit newer. It's a little bit, let's say, more bells and whistles for us. And we're going to be able to pull in new content. And it just takes whatever the content looks like when the scheduled time comes around, and we'll send that. So you don't have to worry about canceling and rescheduling. You can make as many updates to the content in the meantime as you'd like. Now, coming back on in here, we also have the transactional send. So the transactional send is going to be based off of an API. It'll be an API event. So your Friendly Marketing Cloud developer might be creating that API event for you, injecting the contact key into the journey, and that will be a triggered starting source. So APIs, we're always listening to something happening in another system, and then we're throwing them into our journey. We're picking them up with Journey Builder once it does. It is only transactional though. So this is one of the big ones. We can't use this for any of our commercial sends. Transactional sends are going to be more of that idea of something that's operational, not something where we're trying to sell a good or service. So we have to be very careful there. And then multi-step is the one that we're going to be focusing on the most today because let's face it, it's the most fun. And it's also going to be one of the most commonly used ones. So because it has more complexity, we can do more with it. We love our multi-step journeys. And once we're coming in, we do have journey templates as well. So I figured I would show you this in the demo. But we're able to have these starting sources. And we can have people coming into very common use cases. The nice thing about these are they are common use cases, and it's going to give us little prompts, little messages around what we might want to do as part of this. So we get descriptions, we get tips as we start to click in, and suggestions about how to use these. So let's start to dig into it. And we have our journey settings. So journey settings are going to be how many times somebody should be able to come into this journey. So it will be, they'll be qualified through their entry source. And if they qualify multiple times, do we let them back in? No reentry is the first option. And this means that they're never going to be able to come back into this journey again. The same contact with the same contact key will not come in twice, even if they requalify. So it's a really great option for something like a welcome journey. A welcome journey, we want to welcome people once, that's it, they're done. And we don't want to accidentally welcome them again. Otherwise, they start to think that things are off. Reentry anytime means that they might be in this journey 5, 6, 7 different times, all at different points because they've been injected in, they've qualified multiple times. And we just let that happen. So if it's an informational journey based off of somebody making a purchase, I want the same person to be able to come back and make that purchase 5, 7, 10 times, and I'll let them back into this journey each and every time and give them information about that purchase, give them some follow-up. So that'll be a good option here. Reentry only after exiting means that once they come into the journey, they have to go all the way through before they're allowed to requalify to come back in. So they'll never be in multiple places in the journey at the same time. And maybe something like a case follow-up. If they have cases that they're opening, somebody is upset, they're opening cases with customer support, and they might open 10 different cases. But maybe we want a survey or a follow-up only to be about or only to look like it's happening once, even though there are potentially 10 cases that could qualify an individual. They're still in the same experience, and then we can get feedback from them again once they've left and maybe requalify by opening another case. And then we always get to choose which email address we're bringing in as well. So this is a nice part of Journey Builder, that we're not pushed for just one email address and one option. It's not just the all subscribers list email address, but actually we can point to our entry source or any other email attribute that we may have on file. So I saw a question as well about opting into a journey and out of a journey. So I'm going to answer part of that right now. We have our entry sources. So one, we have to always come into a journey if we qualify for it. So some of that opt in, opt out might be making sure that people are getting onto the right target audience. And there's 5 main ones. There's definitely more than this now, but I'd say that if you're exam focused, these are the ones to look at. They're the most commonly used ones as well. So the first one is a data extension, just a table of data sitting in Marketing Cloud. If somebody gets added to that table of data, then they're going to potentially come in. And we can run that on a schedule. We can run it based off of an automation. So you'll be learning about that next week. But Automation Studio can be a staging place for our journeys. We can do stuff in Automation Studio. And then when all of that stuff has happened with our data and it's in the right place, then we can inject the person into Journey Builder and say, just listen to when that automation is done running and now bring them on in. Otherwise, we can even leave it on just a schedule, but with no time scheduled in for a run once situation. So this is more ad hoc scenarios. We might want to run this once in a while, but it's more of a manual run. It's not on a regular basis. It is that idea of ad hoc. Look at time. We're good. So we also have cloud pages. Cloud pages, one of the things we can create there, because you can create a lot more, but one of the things you can create is a landing page with what we call a smart capture form. So that's just the name of the form functionality in Marketing Cloud, but we can create any type of form that we'd like, host it all in Marketing Cloud, and then once somebody submits it, then we can automatically inject that person into a journey. A really great option if we have maybe gated content on our website that we'd like somebody to fill out some information, tell us a bit about themselves, and then we're going to give you this really awesome white paper that we put together, and that's going to be really useful. We can send them the white paper and then also follow up and keep that experience going through Journey Builder. Salesforce data. This is one of my personal favorites. I love the connecting Marketing Cloud to our Salesforce data. But you have all of your sales reps, your service reps, other people who are in your organization, and they're living and breathing in the CRM. That's where they're logging in on a daily basis. They're updating their data. And we can listen to those updates, listen to that data, and inject people into the journey once they do something in the Salesforce side. So imagine a case is closed. Well, we can follow up based off of that case closing, or an opportunity is closed. We can give follow up information. Maybe somebody says that the opportunity stage is just prospecting, it's very early stages. We can send them down a nice informational nurture that's going to get them closer to making that purchase. So with Salesforce data, we have 3 options. We have Experience Cloud. They still call it Community though in Marketing Cloud. So just in case you're seeing a little bit of disconnect between those names, Experience Cloud used to be called Community Cloud. So you'll still see it called Communities in Marketing Cloud. But when somebody gets added to a portal experience from the Salesforce side, rather than getting that kind of clunky templated email that nobody's quite sure what they're getting when they get it, we can use our really awesome Marketing Cloud content and be able to show them that instead, and even nurture them. Welcomes are a great example of a nurture because they're some of our most anticipated emails. So we're keeping up the excitement. Somebody just signed up, they're getting all of this stuff. Let's keep the momentum going. Otherwise, we can use Salesforce campaigns. Just as somebody gets added to a campaign, as a leader contact, a campaign member there, or really any other of our data. And then API events. So this is similar to what we were using with that transactional journey. It's our Marketing Cloud dev who's creating an API integration for us, injecting people into the journey based off of something happening in another system. Now, the benefit to this is that it's the fastest one. So if we need something to be immediately sent out as soon as somebody does something on our website, the API events are usually the way to go. And then the last one that we still leave here, but it's sometimes considered legacy at this point, is the events. So this is just going to be an injection into the journey based off of some date-based attribute that we have in our contact data. So that's all of our entry sources here. And if I come in and just discard changes here, we'll take a look at this one. And because we're on a template, this is already set up for us, but we could create from scratch. And here we can always change our minds. So we've got the little trash can we can delete. And then I can also turn the tips off. So we can always say, actually, I would like this to be my Salesforce data instead. I'd like it to be whatever I want it to be, and set that entry source. We also have all of these activities here. So you'll notice on the left-hand side is where we have our panel of activities, things we can drag and drop onto the canvas here. We can rename our journeys at the top. So we can say, actually, I don't need the date. And we have our full toolbar up here. So we can undo, we can redo. We have something called journey versioning that we'll look at a bit later on. And then we can turn on guidance, toggle the sidebar open and closed. If you ever lose your stuff, that's where to go. And we can even copy sets of activities and be able to copy and paste all of that. Always make sure, by the way, to save as you go in Journey Builder. It's a really great way of losing your stuff. If you don't, it doesn't auto save for you. So just keep that in mind. Then I'll come back in here, and I figured we'd start with our activities. So we have all of these different things we can do that are going to be sending people down different paths. And the most commonly used ones I put here, but there's so much more. So make sure to go into Trailhead help documentation if you don't have access to Marketing Cloud. And if you do, just have a play around. But decisions, I think of D&D, decision data. It's going to be listening to what we know about somebody, their data, whether it's journey data, contact data, and sending them down different paths. So if we know somebody is interested in Brandy, we can send them down one path. And if somebody is interested in one of our other Trailhead characters, we can send them down another path. Maybe something more pertinent to our business, but why not? Engagement splits are listening to engagement within the emails that are being sent from Journey Builder. So that is the one thing here. I always get asked this from customers, from clients I'm working with, of can we listen to just any email? The answer is no. It has to be an email that was previously sent within this journey. And it can't be an email that's over here because it hasn't been sent out yet. So for this engagement split, the only one I'll be able to listen to is this one here. And then our engagements allow us to select the message and then listen to something happening on it. So we can listen for an open, a click, or a bounce. Those are good things to know come exam time. Anything where there's like 3, you should probably know what those are. Random splits are less used now that we have Path Optimizer, but they're still there. They're still valid. They'll just randomly segment our customers down different paths, and we can go up to 10 paths. So 10 is often the magic number when it comes to the number of paths we can do based off of an activity. You'll notice it's down here in Path Optimizer too. So Path Optimizer is going to let us do what we call ABN testing. We can try different things out. We might have just different email content, but we might have a whole different set of activities. Let's see if our customers respond better to getting an email and waiting 10 days or getting an email and waiting 20 days. Or it might be getting an email and then getting a push notification and an SMS message and switching the order of things. Whatever we'd like to see there, we can test it. And once we do, we can either decide, do I want the winner of this test to either be automatically decided? That only works if I'm listening to one email. So we can listen to one email, who's got the most clicks, the most opens, whatever that might be. Or if we have more than one activity, usually that will be a manual choice where once it's live, once it's been going, we come back in and tell it based off of what we've seen, we're going to say this is the winner here. So we're making that choice ourselves. The nice thing here is that everybody who comes in after that choice is made, goes down the winning path. So it's not a lot of admin for us. It's not a lot of maintenance. Einstein's our tools are cool. They're powerful. They let us do so much based off of our data, and they're really good questions on the exam. So the Einstein scoring split. We segment this one based off of our Einstein personas. So we do have to build this in advance. We build these based off of engagement score segments, but we can use that and say maybe we have loyalty customers or frequent kind of those window shoppers, or maybe a group of dormant customers. We can send people down those different paths based off of those different personas. The frequency split is another one where it's listening to our data and it's listening to engagement frequency. So we're making sure that nobody gets oversaturated, that they're not getting overloaded with emails, and that they're just getting the right amount. Joins help us bring people back together. So we don't want to have to split people out into all of these different paths and then maintain the same three steps at the end for each and every path. That would be a admin nightmare when it comes back into Journey Builder. So we can use joins to say, actually, it was nice having everybody separated for a while, but now we'd like to bring them all back together so that they get those last couple of activities as a group. And then all of our weights. So I didn't separate them out here. You definitely want to look into this more if you're studying for an exam, but wait by duration. Wait until a certain date. Wait until a certain API event happens. Wait until a date-based attribute happens in our contact data. It's all about controlling the cadence and how fast or slow we'd like people to go through. And I see a question in the chat, a really good one. Can we use Path Optimizer for a one-shot email? Is it beneficial? Absolutely. So you can have it for ad hoc. And in that case, if it's a run once, it can only be based off of a data extension entry source at that point. And if it's just a run once journey, then we can use a holdback audience. So we can actually say, hold back 50% of our target audience until that winner is decided, and then everybody else will go down the winning path, more similar to the classic idea of an A/B test that we might use. Yeah, definitely beneficial. All of that A/B testing helps us to get to know our customers, because even if you've been a marketer for years, you've gone it through different jobs, different industries. Every audience at every company is different. So it's getting to know our people and not just base our ideas, our strategy based off of what might have worked at a past job or past experiences, and not really listening to our customers. So always a good idea to A/B test. We also have all of our different channels here. So you've got your email, your advertising. We can send people into advertising campaigns, get in front of them in paid advertising, and the social media channel of choice. It could be LinkedIn, Google Ads, Facebook, whatever we're using. There's WhatsApp now in Marketing Cloud. So you do need an extra SKU for that one, but it's really fun to play around with. Push notifications through a custom app that we might have built ourselves, and we can integrate that. Inbox activity just goes into the inbox of that custom app. Push notifications are those little banners that come at the top, which my kids love to swipe on me if they're using my phone and they're like, I don't want to see this, and they'll swipe that away. So if it's something important, stick it in my inbox too. Kids will make every mom out there lose our push notifications. And then line message apps too. Also, our Salesforce activities. So I know I spent some time on the entry source talking about our Salesforce data being what triggers people in, but actually we can also write back into Salesforce and create this nice loop effect. So it's not just bringing our data into our journey and using it. It's also about writing back into Salesforce and updating our other team members based off of what happened. So imagine a opportunity that we're engaging with all of our prospecting opportunities. Well, we want to try to get them along that path if somebody clicks on a certain email and clicks a button. We can either update the opportunity or maybe even create a task so that somebody follows up and picks up the phone for a high value opportunity and says, actually, this is worth the phone call. Let's get that human interaction point. So I loved using these activities really to break down the verticals in between our teams and be able to create those interactions that count. A lot of times with automation tools, we're so focused on what we can automate and what we don't need to touch afterwards. But sometimes it's about opening up our time so that we can use it wisely and actually make an impact. And then once we've got all of that going, then we can start to use our goals and exit criteria. So, this is another answer to that question before about opting out of journeys. So, we can say that once somebody hits a certain point or they have certain data, then they shouldn't be in this journey anymore. If it is a journey, let's say an abandoned cart, and they make a purchase, well, that means that we don't have to chase them about an abandoned cart anymore. They went back, they made that purchase, they shouldn't be getting any more of these abandoned cart emails. We can look into our data and say, once they've gotten that abandoned cart, made a purchase, let's go ahead and let them leave. And that's our exit criteria. So I've listed the two of these together though, because we can make a goal our exit criteria as well. So it can be decoupled, it can be separate if they are separate things. Or we might say, well, actually, that abandoned cart scenario, this is the goal of our journey. This is what we're trying to get people to do. We're trying to get them to make a purchase. In that case, in Journey Builder, we've got our little trophy here that shows our goals. We can listen to our contact data, our journey data, whatever we'd like. And we can say, once somebody has this particular goal, in which case, if your name is Vicky, our mission is accomplished. Then I want at least one person to be named Vicky or whatever that is. You'll want something better here. But we can say either a number of people or a percentage of the population. And we have this exit option down below. So we can say when somebody reaches this goal, let's go ahead and let them leave the journey. Usually to leave a journey, you have to make it to the end and you exit at the end of one of the paths. But here we're saying, even if you're all the way up here, this person will just leave. We'll let them go. We don't want to be messaging them anymore. Now, you'll also notice that I put a note about journey data and contact data here. This is a much larger subject, and I'll go through it really quickly, but definitely one where if you've never seen it before, come back and revisit it. Basically, you have two different types of data available to you in Journey Builder. And you can see this on goals, you can see this on decision splits, anywhere where we are using our data. Journey data is all of that data that comes in at the entry source. If I say I'm listening to my Salesforce data here, then I might say I want to bring in somebody's first name, last name, their case reason, and a whole list of information. Basically, what Marketing Cloud does, once you save the journey and you're activating it for the first time, it creates a data extension that where it saves all of the journey data. And the journey data is each time somebody's injected in, it stamps a row of data on that journey data extension. So it's holding all of this for us, not on a permanent basis, but it holds it for a little while. We do have data retention there. And it's going to stay the same as somebody's coming through the journey. So it's stale essentially. It's going to be things that don't change very often over time, like somebody's name, like their where they're located, maybe, or that kind of their interests. Our interests don't usually change on a whim. Some of us do, but most of us don't. And we'll be able to call that our journey data. Personalization strings, dynamic content within Journey Builder, they pull from our journey data. So that's important to think about as you're creating those. Contact data is our up to date real time data. So it's all of the stuff you can see and you will see when you talk about your subscriber data. I don't want to step on the other speaker's toes, but it's everything that you see over here. It's all of this relational data model in what I like to call the constellation. Yeah, the other people call this the constellation. I call this the spider web because I think of myself as a little spider. And if I know the contact that I'm sending to, I can reach through the spider web and grab any data point I'd like. We can use that in Journey Builder quite a bit. So let's come on back in there. We'll stick around Journey Builder now. And I'll bring us into another one just to see. But you can see this is another templated one. So it's an abandoned cart journey. And I can use that contact data within my decision splits, within my journey, and get the real-time data. So it is essentially real time. There are some delays depending on where it's coming from, but it's closer to real time. It's going to be updated data. And if I want to access that within the email content, that's when I use AmScript. So AmScript is going to give us that more real time data instead. If you don't know what AmScript is yet, that's okay. But it is our coding language in Marketing Cloud. Is this Salesforce activity option available for any specific Marketing Cloud edition or user? That's a good question. All of these things that we're seeing here, the messages depend on what you've purchased. So they're different SKUs. You have to purchase the right one. Email will come with pretty much everything, but the others won't. Down here for the flow control, some of the Einstein ones depend on your Marketing Cloud edition, what you've purchased. Most of the orange ones, I would say here, yeah, I think all of those orange ones are going to be ones that are available to everybody. So that would be the main difference. And then with your user, it always depends on your roles. So you can look into Marketing Cloud roles and how those permissions work. But if you have access to Journey Builder, if you have edit access, then you'll have access to everything here. We can't take away just one type of activity. It's pretty much an all or nothing.
We do have a couple more questions. Will we be answering those towards the end or as we go?
Yes. So I only see, oh, there's a question and answer section. Yeah. So I've only seen the ones in the chat for right now. For Salesforce data, yeah, I'll come back to that one. It's not going to be quite the same thing. So, yeah. The other ones, I think I've been picking them up as they go. So if anybody doesn't have one answered, feel free to ask at the end too. And I just have a little bit more here, and then we'll open it up for full Q&A. So once we've gotten the journey live, we do need to activate it. So we validate to test to make sure everything works correctly. If I validate this, I get a whole bunch of errors because there's nothing defined here. So we can see what we need to update. It is very good because it gives us those little cards that we can click into and we can make our edits directly there, and then we can reevaluate once it's done. And then once we're fully ready, we can activate, and then this will be a live running journey. So the important thing with Journey Builder is that we can't edit an active journey. There's no way of getting around it. It's just not going to happen. So you have different versions, and for the email specialist exam, get to know the different versions, what they do. When we're creating something, it's in draft. When it's live, it's running. And everybody new coming into this journey is going to be coming into the most recently running journey. Anybody who was previously in a different version, in the previous version, will stay in that version until they leave, and that version will show us finishing. So it just means that there's still people there, but it is finishing up. We can stop a journey, which means we can't restart it. Not very common, and we really should avoid it unless we absolutely have the use case for it. We can pause a journey up to 14 days. And then we can test the journey as well if it's a data extension entry source. So I saw conducting QA of a journey. We do have this option for the data extensions where we can go into testing mode. There's a little test button up here. And we can test up to 10 different contacts, and it will show us how they would come through the journey. Really nice way of showing off what we've done to the other teams too. Otherwise, if you're testing for Salesforce, let's say, or even an API event, it might be that you have one version, but rather than having this be 8 hours, you might change it to 8 minutes or something that's shorter so that that first version just has shorter waiting times. You can test everything out. And then when you're ready to go with live data, you make another version and you activate that second version. So it doesn't have a necessarily perfect testing, but we can handle it that way. When we need to troubleshoot, journey history. So this tells us who's come through what journey, what they've done, what they haven't done. If somebody says, "Why isn't my contact, my client getting these sales information that they should have been getting?" We can see if maybe they didn't qualify here. Maybe if they got filtered out by the entry source, by a filter that we have with our contact data, whatever that might be, or maybe they're still in the journey. We can find out what journeys they've been a part of. We also have analytics directly within the journey canvas itself. So we have when somebody's coming through, we can see how many people have come through each step. We can see some high level information depending on what that step is. If it's an email, we can see more than if it's just a wait period. And then we can see some additional analytics if we click into the email here. So I've given us some screenshots to work with, but we can see clicks, opens, and there's a lot more details here as well. So you can click that link and keep going, keep digging into some of those. We do have journey reports with our standard reports in Marketing Cloud. You'll see reports later on. And we also have journey reporting on the journey canvas itself. So we can see things like goal attainment here and see our highest performing journeys, our lowest performing journeys, and help us to strategize about which ones we should be improving on. So with this, that was the end. This You're on your way. This is what you see when you activate a journey. I figured it's also a good metaphor for all of you on your certification paths. You're on your way. You're halfway through the boot camp, and Astra with a rocket ship. So I know that there was one question as well around the opting in and opting out specifically. So when you're in a journey and we're taking a look at, let's say, this email here, opt in, opt out in Marketing Cloud is using publication lists. So this is different functionality, but we can use them within Journey Builder. And we would set it here as the delivery options on the email activity itself. So by default, it's all subscribers. If somebody clicks the unsubscribe link, they'll automatically be unsubscribed from all subscribers. But if we wanted them to maybe be just unsubscribed from list A and then be pushed back to their publication lists to see everything that they can opt in or out of, then this would be the way we'd do it. So it handles that list level opt in, opt out. Then the question around Salesforce data. Oh, okay. So what is a reusable entry source and how do we use it? What's the difference between entry source and reusable? If you think the same thing is going to be triggering multiple different journeys, you can create these entry sources here. So you can see that you can create a new event. It can be based off of any of these things here. And then we can use that across multiple journeys. So it's a recyclable idea. Really, if we think we're going to be doing the same thing over and over, we don't have to recreate the wheel each and every time. But that's the real difference. Otherwise, we can just bring things in as the entry source when we're creating a new journey here. So we can pick what our starting point is. For Salesforce data, can we use a dynamic data extension on Marketing Cloud? So this is why I wanted to come back to this one. Data extensions, Marketing Cloud side. They're the way that we handle our data, that we can manage all of that data in Marketing Cloud. The Salesforce data is using Salesforce. So it's using objects which work under the hood, quite similar to data extensions. They're both a table of data in the system, relational databases, and all of that. But it is on the Salesforce side. So we can do some things about staging our data, which is more complex in Automation Studio, maybe, where we say, let's bring some of our Marketing Cloud data together with our Salesforce data. we stage that in a data extension, and then we inject that in. That would be a data extension that we would select here. And then if, yeah, I don't think I have anything that's related back to an automation, so I won't be able to show you here. But if it's based off of an automation, if it's related to it, we'll be able to use the automation as the schedule for the data extension. Can you use file drops in Journey Builder? No. So file drops are Automation Studio only. So that would be another example though, where if you're using a full workflow, you would use the file drops, stage it, do all of your ETL in Automation Studio that you'll talk about next week, and then you can inject them into Journey Builder the same way you do here. So the end goal with an automation in that point would be having everything on one single data extension and then saying, well, whenever that finishes running, let's bring it into Journey Builder here. How to send to contacts at 9 a.m. on a certain time. Based off of their time zone. That's a trickier one. Otherwise, I will show you just our wait option. So I'll bring in an email so that I can get a wait in here. So with a schedule, you can give it a time. So we could always say we want this to start at a certain time. Otherwise, we also, with our splits here, our wait by duration here, we can extend the wait until a specific time. So we can say, I'd like to wait until 9 a.m. and pick the time zone. It is just limited to one time zone here. So it's a more complex use case, I would say, if you needed to go beyond that. And maybe another topic for another day. What is deselect segmentation process? Deselect is a third-party tool. So it is separate to Marketing Cloud. It's an add-on purchase, I believe, but it is one of the app exchange tools. So you can see I've been on here. And yeah, I think this is what you're referring to. So this is the tool if anybody's looking. And it helps with some segmentation. So I would say this is more similar to what you would do in Automation Studio with segmenting without needing to use SQL queries. And then from a Journey Builder perspective, because it's giving you as an end result a data extension, it would just be picking up the data extension here. So we'd be back where we started and just being able to use that as our entry source. I'm switching back and forth between the chats. If the journey has a wrong email, but the customer's already in the journey, can you stop, modify the email, and send the corrected email to the clients? So you can stop them. You wouldn't stop the full journey, but for an individual person, once the journey is running, we have a thing called Journey Health. So it's not on this one because it's not a live journey. But if I did have a live journey, unfortunately, I don't think I do in this account, it would show the journey health with a little suitcase with a plus sign, kind of like the Red Cross heart health. And with that, we can see where a person has come through a journey. So if we have their contact key, we insert it. And if they're in the journey, we get a nice big red remove button. So we'll have to use our imaginations here. But it is really big. And we can remove somebody from a journey if we have a customer that's complaining or that example of the incorrect email. And then as long as your journey settings allow for it. So if your journey settings are no reentry, you're kind of stuck. But otherwise, you would be able to update that email address and maybe re-enter them into the journey. Yeah, and I don't see any
question
other.
around the QA testing for a journey. So how do we conduct QA of a journey?
Yeah, we did that one already during the session. So that would be either the test for a data extension entry source or reducing those wait times for version 1. Yeah, and I don't see any other new ones.
We got one more in the Q&A, I guess.
Let me hop on over.
So it's
Is it the Salesforce data one?
It's from Sarang. Our Salesforce campaign and Marketing Cloud campaign are linked, and how to use them in Journey Builder.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was reading that Q&A on the wrong going top to the bottom, but that one stuck it up at the top. Um, yes, so if you're using your Salesforce data, you base it off of a Salesforce campaign. So then essentially you'd be doing your driving with your audience based off of the campaign membership. And you could use that almost like your opt-in, opt-out list, but it would be this option here. And then you would select which campaign you're listening to. How does Journey Builder handle the auto suppression data if the journey has already started and a user unsubscribes in the middle? How will it manage? It always honors the unsubscribe. So if it's somebody's part of an auto suppression, they'll be suppressed. They won't get the email messages. And if you've associated an email send with a publication list and they've opted out just of that list, they won't get any other emails that are associated with that publication list. And then if they're globally opted out, so a master unsubscribed through the all subscribers list, then they're never going to get another commercial email. So it's respecting all of the same things as the other parts of Marketing Cloud. For message configuration, let's just select a random message here. Thanks for your inquiry. Sounds good. Then we have this publication list. That's what it would be listening to. They're opt-in, opt-out there. And if it's unsubscribed, then they won't get anything that is with a commercial send classification. So your send classification is where you say if it's commercial, if it's transactional. If it's transactional, then we have the option of letting it still go out. So that's an account setting. We can turn that on or off, but we do have the option there. Now I'm making sure that I've gotten all of the other ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for A/B testing of a journey, that would be the path optimizer, they call it. So that's the ABN testing. And it's right down here where we could go, there it is. We can stick this in, and then we can keep adding activities. So I could have maybe different types of message and see what channel's performing the best, whatever I'd like to see here. And we can test up to 10 different paths against each other. So I could add more if I'd like. We can decide what that configuration is, how many people go down each one. Maybe I want to kind of stage it a little bit so that I'm giving some more weight to this one. If it is an ad hoc, run once schedule for a data extension, then we can have the holdback audience. And here's where we see the email engagement. This is the automatic winner. Or we can have manual selection, and anybody new will come down that winning path. How do we ensure transactional emails are sent promptly in response to specific customer actions or events? API events. So that would be a really good use case for going for the code solution and actually writing an API into Marketing Cloud so that it injects the contact directly into the journey as soon as that API event is triggered. So it is really the fastest one out there. As soon as something happens, as soon as the customer takes an action on the website or in another system, they're going to be injected into Journey Builder. And for transactional, you could even use, if it's just one email that you're sending. So this is another point. With the transactional send journey, if it's just one email, this is the best one to use. It's the fastest of all of them. But if it's commercial, then you would use the multi-step with a commercial send. Did I miss anything else?
There was a follow-up question for the A/B testing. What if I want to do A/B test without the winner version?
It wouldn't be an A/B test at that point. So A/B test by definition is always going to have a winner. We're going to want to know what's happening based off of this journey that's going on. But if we were to say, actually, I'd like to just randomly send people down different paths, it wouldn't be an path optimizer that we would use. We would just use this random split. So we could say a random split, send people down different paths, and then you could have a join after that. But if you're never selecting a winner, then you would just leave it at this and it would randomly send people through different paths. Did I miss anything else? You're keeping me honest.
No, that's it actually. So we have covered almost all the questions and we're right on time.
Perfect. Look at that. Well, thank you, Slide, then. So, thank you, Slide. I think we need like a brandy dance. I do
Yeah.
those in classes all the time. It's my excuse for keeping my plushies in my office because otherwise my kids steal them if I just don't have like a work reason to keep them.
Yeah, no, I can totally relate to that. I have a plushie and my son will all the time, he'll be like, Atto! And stop playing with it. So
I made the mistake when I first got into Salesforce of getting like the mom guilt